This is the inside of the Auto-Sleeper Wiltshire. If I firstly move to the main control panel, I can turn the 12 volt on just here. We then have water pump on and off, lights on and off. These can then all be individually turned on and off on their own switches. We then have awning light on and off. This button does absolutely nothing. Some models use it for dimmable lighting, but on this particular model, any lights that can be dimmed, for instance, these ones just here, are done on the on-off switch for them. But if you hold it in, you can dim them and brighten them up. We then have battery selection, so leisure battery and vehicle battery. Whichever battery you've selected on here whilst you're hooked up to the main supply is the battery you are charging. And then we have tank heaters on and off. If you are using the motorhome in extremely cold climate, you can pop this on to avoid any frost damage occurring to the fresh and the waste tank. All other information is then given via scrolling. So at the top here we've got external temperature. We have a lightning strike just indicating that we are hooked up to main supply. We then have the time and the internal temperature. If we now just go back to the start screen, we can just have a clock. This is where we can set time or set wake up alarms, etc. All we do is just arrow in, and then we can then alter what we need to do. If you're going to be using alarms, just set it and then turn it on and off just here, and you'll see you're getting a little alarm symbol just come up there. We can also set a countdown timer as well if required. Next we have condition of leisure battery, how many amp hours in the battery. Always take this with a slight pinch of salt. I always prefer just go on what I'm being told here. What the solar panel is doing, and then how many amps you've either got coming in or you're drawing, depending. This one here gives us condition of vehicle, condition of leisure, how much water is in the fresh tank and how much water is in the waste tank. And then we end back up at the beginning again. Beside this, we then have the control panel for the Truma heating and hot water. This particular control panel is linked to this. You need to make sure that this is on before you turn this on, and you need to make sure that you've turned this off before you turn this off. If we now press the button, we can turn the system on. You'll see we have buttons just here. This first one is for the heating. So if I now click on it, you'll see at the moment heating is set at 5 degrees. All we then do is we just use the arrows to pick whatever temperature we would like it to be inside the motorhome, and it will go right the way up to 30 degrees. So once you've decided, then press set to store it in. And you'll now see that the heating is now set at 30 degrees. If we just miss the middle one for the moment and we go right the way to the end here with a little picture of a shower head, this is for hot water. And again, if I now click it, you'll see at the moment water is off. And if I now arrow down and then hit set, we can then put it into 60 degrees. The reason it's flashing at the moment is because it's not at temperature yet. If we now come to the middle button, this is power source. So at the moment, for doing the heating and the hot water, you'll see I have an E here, which is for electric. So I'm currently running on main supply. If I now press this button, you'll see all the options we have. So we can run on main supply using 4 amps, or we can run on main supply using 8 amps. So this is just dependent on the amperage of the site you're on. You can solely run on gas if you do not have main supply available to you. Or we can run in dual fuel, so we can run on a mixture of gas and mains at 4 amps, or a mixture of gas and mains at 8 amps. Remember that once you've arrowed, you do have to press set. And I've now picked dual fuel, and you'll now see we have electricity and gas, both. If I now press the set button, we'll go into the setup, and again we navigate on the arrow keys. You'll see we can set timers, and we're currently in winter mode. If I now arrow across to summer mode and hit set, and then go back out of it again, you'll see now that we cannot use the heating because we're in summer mode. And then if I go to hot water, we have the option of either heating it to 60 degrees or 40. We can set the clock in here. And then we can also set the timers if required. We can have key beeps on and off. And we can also set the brightness of the backlight just here. And then we end up back at the beginning again. If you do turn off this control panel before this one, this is what will happen. You will get an operation fault connection error because this is connected up to the mains control panel, so you do need to then turn it back on again for it to sort itself back out again. And if there's any other problems with the unit, it will let you know on the screen. If we now come down to the bench seat just here, and I just remove the cushions, and I now lift up, you'll see we have some storage here. We also have the gas locker just here. You'll see we have some 12 volt fuses just here. They are labelled up and are for mainly components that are on the outside of the motorhome. If we now drop the flap down just here, we then have the consumer unit. So here we have the main strip switches. So we have the 3 individual MCBs just here, the main RCD and the test button. So if something's not working on main supply, just check to see whether or not you've tripped. And all of these correspond in the Auto-Sleeper handbook. And then we have the 12 volt fuses just here. Again, they are all numbered up, and again will correspond in the handbook. So if something's not working on 12 volt, just check to see if you've blown a fuse. We have isolator switches just here. So we have the 2 amber ones just here for the heating and hot water. So again, if I turn these off and I'm trying to run the heating or the hot water and main supply, we will get an operation error. So really just leave them turned on. They are more for maintenance. We then have the green one for the battery charger. Again, if we turn that off, we will not be able to charge up either the vehicle or the leisure battery from the main supply. And this light here will illuminate if we have reverse polarity connected to the motorhome. This can sometimes be found on some continental sites. And then we have buttons that are found on the main control panel as well. So we have 12 volt off, water pump on and off, lights on and off, and we can switch between the leisure and the vehicle battery. If it's highlighted in blue, it's on the vehicle, and if it's off, it's on the leisure. Lastly, we have full system shutdown just here. So if you're not using the motorhome for a long period of time, you can press this black button and it will kill any residual draw on the leisure battery. Underneath the opposite bench seat we just literally have storage, and we also have the two infills for the bed. To make this front bed, it's extremely easy. Just slightly lift up and then pull towards you, and then drop the cushions into place, and then you'll see you have a gap just here, and that is what these infill cushions are for, just underneath here. Both driver and passenger seats swivel round, and they swivel round on the red levers. Sink just here, and then we have the extractor fan. So we have 2 fan speeds, 2 light levels. Beneath that, the hob. So we have the electric hot plate just here, operates just here, and then we have the 3 gas burners. To operate, just push in, twist and press the igniter. Beneath that we then have the grill. And then the oven. Storage beneath the oven. You will find that there is a plug just tucked at the back here, which is just for the hot plate, and you will find a gas isolation tap for the oven itself just there. And then we have storage all the way along. Fridge freezer just here. To operate, just turn on and off just here. This is an automatic model, so as long as you are on A for automatic, it will find the best power source it can for you. So because we're currently hooked up to main supply, it's put us onto mains with a little picture of the 2-pin plug. If I was to pull the mains lead out, it would then automatically put itself onto gas. And then as soon as I start the engine, it will then automatically go over to 12 volt maintain to keep itself cold whilst on the move. We can manually select anything. So if I want it on gas now, I just press the picture of the flame and it will automatically ignite itself. And I can put it onto 12 volt maintain. At the moment it's going to beep and we're going to get a little red error just here because the engine's not currently running. If you get this warning when trying to light on gas, just press this button here again and then it will attempt to light again. But automatic is the easiest function to have it on. The unit's anti-condensation jacket on and off just on this one here. This needs to be on if you're using the motorhome in warmer climate. It will basically stop any condensation building up at the back of the unit, which would then run down it and form a puddle. And then lastly, we have temperature control just here. Above that, we have the microwave. Do make sure that the contents are removed for travel. We have quick start just here, stop, power settings, defrost, time settings just here. The Dometic aircon just above my head. So here is the remote for it, and you'll see that if I then just open up just here that we have a series of icons. So it does let you know what everything is. On and off just here. And then you'll see that you have a button that says mode. So at the moment we're now into fan mode. Then we're into active ventilation, dry air, and then cool. Control your temperature just on the plus and the minus. And then we have fan speed just here. You'll see you will be able to set timers if you want to. We also have lights in the unit as well. If we now come through to the bedroom, we have the wardrobe just here. We have a switch just here which will just turn off the rear speakers. So if somebody's listening to the radio at the front but somebody's in the bedroom and they do not want to listen to the music, you can just turn it off just here. We also have the digital amplifier for the television aerial just here, on and off like so, and control the boost just here. The mast itself is just here. To operate it, just undo the collar and then push the mast up and then twist it into the position that you require and then lock it into place. Try not to over tighten these collars because you do run the risk of splitting them, and then it's just a matter of tuning your television in. At the moment the aerial is in the horizontal position. It can be flipped to vertical for additional tuning if required. Just turn the tail just here. Do make sure that the aerial is down for travel. If we now go underneath the bed itself, we have the freestanding table beneath it and plenty of storage. We also have the Truma boiler just here. Again, you will find some more gas isolation taps just there. We have both the fridge and the heating and the hot water system. And then we also have the boiler drain valve itself just here. These particular drain valves are automatic, so if the temperature inside the motorhome drops below about 3 or 4 degrees, this valve will automatically open up and drop all the water out of the boiler to frost protect itself. If you are going to manually drain it, firstly make sure the water pump is turned off and then twist the blue diamond, and then the blue button just at the base of the unit will pop out. To reset it, twist it back to the position it's in now and then push the blue button back in to reset it, and then fill up the fresh water tank, turn the water pump on, and it will then begin to prime the system back up again. If it auto drops, all that will happen is the blue button at the base of the unit will just pop out, and all you need to do is push it back in to reset it. If it will not stay in, it's just too cold in the motorhome, and you will need to turn on the heating to generate some heat to allow it to reset. At the rear we have the washroom, so we have the shower just here. When the light's turned on, the extractor fan will come on. Do make sure that the screen is secure for travel. We then have the basin and the Dometic toilet. So to open to the cassette, just pull towards you like so. Push to flush on the top. Level indicator just here, so it will let you know when the flush water needs topping up. It will let you know if the cassette is not inserted correctly, and it will let you know when it's half full and when it's completely full. And if this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out, so just make sure that it is closed.